Hey Celtics Nation, we're back with an exclusive video bringing you the latest updates and insights on our beloved Boston Celtics. Before we dive into everything, make sure you hit that subscribe button and smash the like. That way, you'll never miss out on any exclusive news or Celtics content we drop. Alright, now that we're all set, let's get into it. Today's episode is a bit quieter compared to the chaos we saw yesterday. I mean, the Georgia Niang trade just happened, and then the signing of Chris Boucher came through, which raised a lot of questions about what it means for the Celtics roster construction moving forward. But today, instead of focusing solely on the Celtics, we're zooming out a bit and taking a look at the unrest bubbling across the entire Eastern Conference. Believe it or not, what's happening in other cities and with other teams could end up having a huge impact on Boston's season. Not just this upcoming year, but the year after that as well. Before I get too deep into all that, I want to remind you, if this is your first time here, or if you've just been holding back on subscribing, please join the fun and hit that subscribe button. Engage in the comments, hit like, and get involved. Because the Celtics community, I also want to shout out Caitlin Cooper. If you're a Pacers fan, you probably know her. She had a great interview with Rick Carlisle that's worth mentioning. Here, Carlisle pointed out that the era of the big three teams is basically over. With the current salary cap structure and collective bargaining agreement, teams can't afford to spend max money on three superstars anymore. Instead, teams are building deeper benches with solid role players who can all contribute. Carlisle's view is that having a strong 1-2 punch is ideal. But after that, it's better to surround those stars with multiple reliable, serviceable players rather than maxing out a third superstar. This is why contracts like those of Trae Young and Tyler Hero-Matzo, Fox's extension has really shaken up the guard market, creating a new upper class of point guards that others have to compare themselves to or try to beat. It's a fascinating dynamic. If you lined up the best point guards right now, you'd probably have names like Luka Doncic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jaylen Brown, De'Aaron Fox, Steph Curry, and maybe a few others ahead of the pack. Players like James Harden or Jamal Murray, it's debatable who ranks where exactly. But Fox's contract is definitely changing the perception of value. Now, with all this unrest and uncertainty in the East, with teams like Miami, Atlanta, and even the Bucks in flux, it really makes you wonder how Boston's season will shake out. There's also the Giannis Antetokounmpo situation, which continues to be a big talking point. Rumors and speculation about Giannis's future in Milwaukee keep bubbling up. Will he stay? Will he leave? Where would he go? The New York Knicks have been mentioned as a potential landing spot, especially if they could package assets like Karl Anthony Towns, Mikal Bridges, and some first-round picks to try and convince Giannis to join their squad alongside Jalen Brunson. Boston fans, how would you feel about that? Would you consider packaging Jaylen Brown, some other players, and multiple first-round picks to try and get Giannis? It's a huge question mark. Giannis alone could tilt the balance in the East dramatically, but is it worth giving up so much? Personally, I love having Jalen on the team, and giving him up would be tough, but the temptation of adding a superstar like Giannis is undeniable. So many variables are at play, and the Eastern Conference is just so weird and unpredictable this year. Between Indiana missing Tyrese Halliburton, Boston missing Jason Tatum for stretches, the uncertainty around Giannis, and teams like the Hawks, Magic, and Pistons all trying to find their footing, it's really anyone's guess how it will all unfold. But one thing's for sure, Boston's future and their strategy for building a championship roster will be heavily influenced by what happens with all these moving pieces. Alright, Celtics fans, now that we've unpacked the current unrest in the Eastern Conference and looked at how massive deals like De'Aaron Fox's extension and the looming Trae Young and Tyler Hero situations are reshaping the market, it's time to zoom back in on Boston itself. The Celtics have a lot of decisions ahead, and it's crucial to understand not just what's happening around the league, but how these moves ripple back to Boston's own plans for success. This isn't just about a single season. It's about building a sustainable contender that can withstand the pressure of the NBA's evolving landscape. First, let's talk about the Celtics' current roster and what it means in the context of these league-wide shifts. Boston's core stars, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, remain two of the most dynamic, young, and versatile players in the league. Their two-way abilities make the Celtics a legitimate title contender every year. But the supporting cast, the bench depth, and the complementary pieces are where things get complicated. The Celtics have made moves to add players like Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, and Kristaps Porzingis, hoping to round out their lineup with both offense and defense, shooting and playmaking. However, contracts are a significant factor in how Boston can build around those stars. With the rising salaries for guards like Fox, Young, and Harrell, the Celtics must be cautious about locking themselves into massive deals for role players or potential stars who may or may not develop into consistent contributors. The salary cap doesn't allow for too many max or near-max contracts without risking flexibility. That's why the front office's strategy of balancing solid veteran presence with promising young talent is so important. It's also why the recent signing of Chris Boucher is interesting. Boucher is a versatile big man who can stretch the floor and protect the rim. Adding him provides depth in the front court and offers a different look next to Porzingis or Robert Williams III, but Boucher's deal also raises questions about roster spots and minutes distribution. When you have so many wings and bigs competing for playing time, how do you ensure that everyone fits into a cohesive system? And with financial constraints, every contract matters deeply. Meanwhile, the Georgia Niang trade, which brought in a reliable wing shooter and defender, fits Boston's current identity perfectly. Niang's ability to space the floor and guard multiple positions makes him a valuable chess piece for Brad Stevens, or Joe Mazzulla if you prefer. The Celtics emphasize versatility, high basketball IQ, and selfless play. Niang complements Tatum and Brown's aggressive scoring styles by providing a steady hand and high basketball IQ on both ends. Yet, the challenge remains. Boston's roster has some question marks, especially on defense. While Tatum and Brown can guard multiple positions, the Celtics need more consistent rim protection and perimeter defense from their role players. This is where teams like the Miami Heat have an edge, with guys like Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo anchoring their defense. Boston's front office will need to continue seeking defensive specialists who can fit into the system without compromising the team's offensive flow. Speaking of defense, Robert Williams III's health is another critical factor. When healthy, Williams is one of the best rim protectors in the league and a key anchor for Boston's defense. His ability to switch onto guards and protect the paint allows the Celtics to play aggressive perimeter defense. Unfortunately, injuries have limited his availability in recent seasons, and the team's success often correlates directly with how well he can stay on the floor. The Celtics have invested heavily in sports science and medical staff to ensure their core players are available as much as possible. But basketball is a physically demanding sport, and injuries can always shift the balance of power. The more reliable the supporting cast is in stepping up during absences, the better Boston's chances of making deep playoff runs. Another important factor is the evolution of the team's playing style. Brad Stevens, now the team president of basketball operations, has overseen the Celtics' transformation into a pace and space team that thrives on ball movement, three-point shooting, and versatile defenders. The front office has invested in players who can shoot from distance and switch defensively, aligning with the modern NBA's trends. However, some critics argue that the Celtics lack a true superstar point guard to run the offense efficiently when Tatum and Brown need a break. While Marcus Smart has been an emotional leader and defensive stalwart, his offensive limitations and health concerns have been a recurring issue. The recent trade rumors involving Jaylen Brown and potential interest in Trae Young or other star guards underscore this perceived need. That said, acquiring a guard like Trae Young would come at a steep price. It's not just about the money, but also the fit. Young's offensive style relies heavily on pick and rolls and isolation, and his defense is a liability. Would the Celtics be willing to sacrifice defensive toughness for offensive firepower? And how would that impact team chemistry with Tatum and Brown? These are complicated questions the front office must consider carefully. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. The basketball world is buzzing with speculation after recent reports emerged suggesting that DEROZAN has signed with the Boston Celtics, a move that could potentially reshape the dynamics of the Eastern Conference in ways that fans and analysts are still trying to fully comprehend. Although nothing has been officially confirmed by the team, sources close to the organization have hinted that negotiations were swift and intense, with DEROZAN reportedly expressing enthusiasm about joining a franchise that has a storied history of championship contention. Celtic supporters are already imagining how his scoring versatility and mid-range prowess might complement Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, creating a trio capable of challenging virtually any defense in the league. The rumor mill suggests that the front office was particularly keen on acquiring a player with DeRozan's experience, especially considering the team's desire to blend veteran leadership with youthful athleticism. While skeptics point out that chemistry might take time to develop, insiders claim that DeRozan's professionalism and ability to thrive under pressure could accelerate the integration process. The idea of him in the green and white jersey has ignited social media chatter, with some analysts speculating that this could be the Celtics' most strategic acquisition since trading for Kevin Garnett nearly 2 decades ago, a move that fans hope signals a renewed title run. Adding DeRozan to the Celtics roster could signify a dramatic shift in the team's offensive approach, potentially moving away from a heavy reliance on isolation plays for Tatum and Brown toward a more balanced scoring system that leverages DeRozan's mid-range game and clutch instincts. Sources suggest that the coaching staff has been quietly exploring ways to maximize his efficiency without disrupting the rhythm of the existing roster, which has consistently been among the top defensive teams in the NBA. The rumor is that head coach Joe Mazzulla sees DeRozan as someone who can provide scoring consistency in crucial moments, a role that could become increasingly vital during the playoffs when matchups are tighter and every possession counts. While fans debate whether this move is more about immediate impact or long-term planning, insiders indicate that the Celtics are aiming to build a flexible, adaptable team capable of contending for a championship in multiple configurations. Meanwhile, sports media outlets are already projecting potential lineups, imagining DeRozan paired with Marcus Smart in pick-and-roll scenarios or as a focal point during late-game situations, which could drastically alter opposing defenses' strategies. This speculative excitement has fueled an ongoing conversation among analysts, fans, and even rival franchises, each trying to anticipate how this possible acquisition could change Boston's position in the Eastern Conference hierarchy. DeRozan's potential arrival in Boston has also sparked intense debate about the Celtics' front court strategy, particularly in terms of spacing, perimeter shooting, and rotation management. Rumors suggest that the front office may consider subtle tweaks to the roster to fully integrate him, possibly exploring trades, buyouts, or shifts in player minutes to ensure maximum efficiency on both ends of the floor. Basketball insiders speculate that his scoring versatility could complement the team's defensive intensity, creating a balance that few Eastern Conference teams currently possess. Some analysts, however, caution that integrating a high-usage wing player requires careful management of shot distribution, ball handling responsibilities, and late-game decision-making. Despite these concerns, the buzz surrounding DeRozan's fit within the Celtics system remains overwhelmingly positive, fueled by his reputation as a high-character player who can thrive under pressure. Fans have flooded forums and social media channels with debates, imagining scenarios where DeRozan's scoring acumen opens up lanes for Tatum and Brown, forcing opponents into difficult rotations and potentially redefining the Celtics' playoff strategies. While some question the long-term financial implications of this rumored contract, many insiders suggest that Boston is willing to take calculated risks to assemble a roster capable of contending for the NBA title in the near term, reflecting the urgency and ambition behind this speculative signing. Moreover, the rumor of DeRozan joining Boston has reignited discussions about the broader competitive landscape of the Eastern Conference. Analysts are considering how this potential acquisition might shift the balance of power, particularly in relation to other top-tier teams, such as the Milwaukee Bucks, Philadelphia 76ers, and Miami Heat. Speculation is rife that DeRozan's presence could not only enhance the Celtics' scoring efficiency, but also provide the kind of veteran leadership needed during grueling playoff series, where momentum swings can determine outcomes. Rumors suggest that league insiders have been closely monitoring every development, weighing how this move could influence trade deadlines, free agent markets, and even coaching strategies across the conference. Fans are theorizing that with DeRozan on the roster, the Celtics might adopt a more aggressive style of play, incorporating more mid-range sets, pick-and-pop actions, and off-ball movement to maximize his skill set. While there is still no official announcement, the speculation has generated a sense of anticipation reminiscent of other blockbuster moves in NBA history, fueling discussions that range from tactical analyses to social media debates about jersey, sales, team culture, and potential Hall of Fame implications. The ongoing buzz surrounding this rumored signing has made it one of the most talked about potential moves of the offseason, capturing the attention of both casual fans and basketball purists alike. Finally, the possibility of DeRozan's integration into the Celtics franchise has sparked intriguing conversations about team identity, chemistry, and long-term aspirations. Rumors indicate that Boston executives are looking beyond immediate results, hoping that his addition could complement the development of younger players while maintaining championship aspirations. Analysts speculate that DeRozan's experience could provide a stabilizing presence in high-pressure playoff moments, mentoring emerging stars while serving as a reliable scoring option during crucial stretches. Fans have speculated on social media about the psychological impact of his presence on the locker room, imagining a scenario where his calm, focused demeanor instills confidence and elevates team morale. Meanwhile, rival franchises are reportedly recalibrating their strategies, anticipating a Celtics roster that could challenge conventional Eastern Conference hierarchies. While all of this remains in the realm of speculation, the rumor itself has generated extensive debate, analysis, and excitement, prompting both sports journalists and fans to imagine the myriad ways this potential acquisition could redefine the Celtics' championship trajectory. Whether this signing ultimately becomes reality or remains a tantalizing possibility, the mere suggestion of DeRozan in Boston has already created a ripple effect, sparking endless discussions about tactics, player synergy, and the potential resurgence of one of the NBA's most iconic franchises. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.